let me introduce you to Holly Taylor. Holly Taylor is a candidate for the Texas Criminal Court of Appeals. This is another one of those races where every registered Texan will get to vote for this particular seat. Um, Holly is running against Republican David Shank. So, hi, Holly. Great to see you again. I'm so glad you're here. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're running for office?
I am running for the most important Texas court that most Texans have never heard of, and that's our Court of Criminal Appeals. I worked for this court first when I was in law school. I was an intern for the court, and I actually interned for one of the last Democrats who ever served on the court. Of course, with our statewide courts, there hasn't been a Democrat elected in 30 years. And I have worked there twice since then, including being the rules attorney for the court. And so I have seen how important this court is. I know that they rule all the time on cases where they're interpreting really important criminal laws and how they impact people in ways that affect the constitutional rights of all Texans. So I know the court is super important. And when I decided to run in November of last year, no one had yet signed up to be the Democratic candidate for this important seat of presiding judge. And I know how important the court is, and I knew how much experience I had with court, so I decided to go ahead and do it. Myself, in addition to working for the court, I have also spent a lot of my career working for the Travis County District Attorney's Office, and I have been involved with our appeals division. I've been involved with our civil rights division. I have also, my position now is that I am director of our public integrity unit and complex crimes division. And so a lot of what we're about is holding accountable powerful governmental actors who abuse the public trust. And I think that that work is super important. It's meaningful to me. I have also spent a lot of my career prosecuting and doing criminal law. I have uh, I have worked to keep people who committed violent crimes involving guns and other types of violence in prison as an appellate prosecutor, but I have also worked with our conviction integrity unit. And our conviction integrity unit, when people raise claims that they may have been wrongfully convicted, we investigate those claims and we look into it. And if through our thorough investigation, we find that that person was wrongfully convicted, we actually work with criminal defense attorneys to try to get relief for those people. And the court, I know, that makes the final decision in those cases is our Court of Criminal Appeals. So that's why it's so important to me based on the work that I've done. So one of the things that I know now, it wasn't part of my decision when I initially decided to run, and I know, Nancy, you probably know this, is that something surprising happened in the primary with this court. And that is that the three incumbents who were running for reelection, who were all Republicans, including who would have been my opponent, a person who was finishing up her 30th year on this court, were all defeated in the primary by candidates who were backed by PACs associated with Ken Paxton. And that is a complicated thing, but the news has reported that those candidates were funded by PACs associated with Mr. Paxton primarily because of their votes on one case that the court decided in 2021, in which the court, interpreting its prior decisions and also the Texas Constitution, decided that Mr. Paxton did not have jurisdiction to prosecute election fraud across the state, that job under our form of government belonged to local prosecutors. And they were not happy with that decision, and thus these opposing candidates were funded in the Republican primary. So when my opponent prevailed, actually, I had never heard of him, which is surprising because in my field, I'm board certified by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization in Criminal Appellate Law. It's a pretty nerdy field. There aren't very many of us that do it. I think there's about 130 of us who are board certified statewide. He's not one of them. In fact, it appears that he's primarily a civil practitioner and appears he has assisted the governor with redistricting in the past and also been appointed to the Dallas Court of Appeals by the governor, but his primary area of practice is civil law, not criminal law. In this court, all they do is criminal law. It's a criminal appellate court. So I was surprised. I took his bar number and I went to the Court of Criminal Appeals website and I ran it through their system, which you can do just to kind of see which cases he had litigated in the court. Can you guess what I found? He had not.
Yep.
He has never litigated a case in the Court of Appeals. The court he seeks to lead as presiding judge, he has never, as far as I can tell, based on the court's website, ever litigated a case. So that is an issue of great concern to me. I know how important the court is and how its decisions are so important to our criminal justice system and to our constitutional rights as Texans. So that's a long answer to your question, Nancy.
Oh, no, that was actually absolutely perfect. You think that some of these judges would be qualified to be in those positions, and then when you find out that they don't have that experience and that they're kind of put in there because of who they know, it kind of makes you question everything. Because they just, we really should have judges that have, legal experience first before they go in there and they're put into their judicial seat so they can relate to the other side of the bench when they have some experience. So that is definitely very surprising. So Holly, is there anything else that we currently do not know about this seat that we should know as Texans? Is there anything that you're possibly would like to talk about that we're missing?
Well, there's so much, and I know we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Judge Weems said something that I think it's really important to understand, which is Texas is one of only 2 states in the nation that have 2 Supreme Courts. So the Texas Supreme Court is the one that most people are concerned about when it comes to some of these new laws that are on the books right now after our legislature has been so busy. But in fact, any of those laws that make something criminal that wasn't criminal before, the cases as they work their way up through the system regarding those laws will ultimately be considered by our Court of Criminal Appeals, which is our Supreme Court for criminal cases. So the decisions and the role of this court are every bit as important right now with current issues as the Texas Supreme Court is. So I hope that everybody will pay very close attention to this court. And also, given what happened in the primary, I also think it's really absolutely critical to keep a close eye on this court. The 3 incumbent Republican judges were all defeated by challengers, and these challengers are much less experienced in the area of criminal law. One has to ask oneself why they are running for this court. And one of the things that I've noted about my opponent is that he's backed by an entity called the True Texas Project. And Nancy, I figure you're probably familiar with them. But folks can look them up. There are a couple of Texas Tribune articles on them, and that organization causes me concern because of their beliefs and the fact that they are somewhat extreme in those beliefs and adhere to things like the Great Replacement theory. It is absolutely critical to me that our courts remain independent, neutral, and that our jurists act with integrity. Our Code of Judicial Conduct provides that judges cannot discriminate on the basis of race, ethnicity, religion, economic status, sex, or sexual orientation. And our Code of Judicial Conduct also provides that judges are not supposed to be members of any organization that discriminates on that basis. So those are the kind of issues that are causing me a lot of concern about all of our courts, especially this one right now.
Well, I can understand why. So thank you so much for sharing all this great information. So tell us, Holly, where can we find you and how best can we support you right now while you're running for office?
So, like Judge Williams, I've done a lot of traveling. Yesterday, in fact, I was in Brazoria County, and I was also in Galveston County and Harris County and Fort Bend County this weekend. So it was a busy weekend. As we move forward into the week, I'll be speaking on Thursday evening to the Williamson County Young Dems at Pine House in Round Rock. But also the following weekend, I'll be traveling again. I'll be in Kerrville. I'll also be in the Dallas area, and I will also be coming up soon again in Harris County, Fort Bend County, and in Bexar County and San Antonio. So I'm all over the state. If anybody wants to know more about the campaign or keep up with me, they can go to my website, which is hollyt4judge.com. That's HOLLYTFOR judge.com. And there's an area there where you can sign up to get updates about the campaign, and we can send you updates about where I'm going to be and what's going on with the campaign. Also, I'm on pretty much all the major social media, including X/Twitter, and also Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And that's all the same string of characters. It's at Holly T for Judge.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for spending your evening with us. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you on the campaign trail. And I know we'll be reaching out to you very, very soon. So thank you. Thank you so much. Good night.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.